Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, my fellow Fijians. I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we stand today. I pay my respect to the chiefs, past and present, as well as the emerging leaders and members of the Vanua Nandunumai. I acknowledge their role in caring for the Vanua. To our fellow citizens joining us this afternoon via radio, television, or live streaming, Nisambula Binaka, I welcome your keen interest in the state opening of the new session of our Parliament. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to express our deepest sympathies and prayers to those who have been affected by Cyclone Ray. Our hearts go out to these families and communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, my fellow citizens, I am honored that I stand before you today to respond to the gracious address by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President's speech has set a visionary path for our nation, emphasizing progress, prosperity, and unity. As a minister responsible for tourism and civil aviation, I am particularly inspired by his call for transformative leadership and collective action, putting aside political agendas. Anyone who has been in this august house before us, and those who are yet to come, ultimately have one mandate: to serve in the best interest of our peoples. While we are appointed under various portfolios, our job is not to advance our sectorial interests alone, but to do so together for our economy through healthy debate so that we may deliver. Mr. Speaker, sir, as His Excellency has said, to move forward requires us to reflect on both our successes and challenges. The tourism sector has been a cornerstone of Fiji's economy, driving our post-pandemic recovery. In 2024, we approached the remarkable milestone of 1 million visitors, a testament to the resilience and dedication of our people. And I just need to emphasize the Honorable Speaker that if we had included the visitors via the cruise lines, the numbers were greater than 1 million visitors. The success was bolstered with the introduction of additional flights, major international events, and renewed investor confidence driving development demand in Fiji. The numbers speak for themselves. In January 2025, Fiji welcomed 70,791 visitors, or 0.6% increase from 73,324 in January 2024, and a 329% recovery from the pandemic lows of 16,502 in January 2022. The steady growth reflects the confidence of travelers in Fiji as a safe and desirable destination, even in the face of adversity. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a fair idea of what the demand is. What we need to work on is the room supply. We recognize the need to get more beds on the ground as a priority to match air inventory. Whether they are five-star brands, smaller boutiques, or community-based accommodations, we need domestic and foreign investments to address this critical need. Between this year and the next, we are seeing approximately 1,500 new rooms under construction, with another 2,000 in pre-development stages. These are positive indicators. The challenge lies in accelerating these developments. While it's streamlining process to avoid unnecessary delays or investing more in support infrastructure, we are committed to creating an enabling environment for growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is important to reflect on how we have come as a ministry too. At the outset, under the coalition government, the merger of the Tourism and Civil Aviation departments into one has been a transformative step. The integration has allowed us to streamline operations, enhance collaboration, and achieve remarkable milestones that would have been challenging as separate entities. Under the previous leadership, tourism was a small unit, grouped with 7 other departments and units. And while I understand more government officials doesn't necessarily mean greater effectiveness, we have a stronger case to provide the larger sector of our economy and the support it deserves. Since the merger, we have successfully launched, number 1, the National Sustainable Tourism Framework 2024-2034, supported the establishment of the ICAO Pacific Liaison Office in Nandi, secured the Open Skies Agreement with the United States, launched the first ever dedicated tourism grant for MSMEs, brought more international supporting events to Fiji, amplifying our brand, and boosted Tourism Fiji's marketing budget. These achievements underscore the power of unity and collaboration in driving progress, and is another testament to our commitment to grassroots development and inclusive growth. As we look ahead, we are confident that this integrated approach will continue to yield positive results, ensuring that Fiji remains a global leader in tourism and civil aviation. The Speaker said, I'm pleased to highlight a significant milestone in our journey towards sustainable tourism development. Cabinet has recently approved the formulation of Fiji's first tourism legislation. The legislation, now in its initial stages of formulation, represents a historic step toward our tourism industry. Once passed in Parliament, it will provide a comprehensive legal framework to enhance sustainability, competitiveness, and inclusivity of our tourism sector. It will ensure that Fiji remains a global leader in responsible and innovative tourism practices. Honorable Speaker, sir, while tourism contributes significantly to our economy, accounting for 40% of GDP, and employing 150,000 Fijians directly and indirectly, tourism is largely centered in only 4 provinces out of Fiji's 14 provinces. But this disparity highlights both a challenge and opportunity. The potential to grow tourism across all 14 provinces is immense, and we are determined to address this imbalance to ensure that every community shares in the prosperity that tourism brings. Through initiatives like the Novo Ligu program, which focuses on sustainable tourism development in Vanua level, and the expansion of community-based tourism projects, we aim to ensure that all provinces benefit equitably from tourism. Our goal is to create a more inclusive tourism sector that uplifts every community and contributes to balanced regional development. As we move forward, we will continue to strengthen our tourism policies, infrastructure, and sustainability practices to ensure that tourism becomes a driving force for economic growth and community empowerment across the 14 provinces. By fostering collaboration between governments, private sector, and local communities, we will create a tourism industry that is not only prosperous, but also inclusive and sustainable. On civil aviation, Mr. Speaker, sir, the modernization of the Civil Aviation Act is a critical step in ensuring compliance with international safety standards, enhancing industry competitiveness, and attracting investments. These efforts will solidify Fiji's position as a premier global travel destination. The proposed Civil Aviation Bill is a pivotal piece of legislation that will drive industry growth and ensure the highest standards of safety and efficiency. By modernizing our aviation laws, we aim to create an environment that fosters innovation, attracts investments, and enhances our connectivity with the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, economic growth is the bedrock of national prosperity. The President has set a clear vision for 2025 to build a Fiji where every citizen thrives. Tourism and civil aviation are not just sectors, they are lifelines that connect Fiji to the global economy. They provide employment, stimulate local businesses, and contribute significantly to our GDP. As we diversify our economy, we will continue to invest in sustainable industries, infrastructure, and digital transformation to ensure broad-based economic growth. The President's vision for 2025 is one of inclusive growth, where no community is left behind. We are committed to creating opportunities that empower every Fijian, from the bustling city of Suva to the serene villages of Vanua level. By leveraging our natural resources, human capital, and strategic partnerships, we will build an economy that is resilient, dynamic, and future-ready. Mr. Speaker, sir, our commitment to sustainability is unwavering. We recognize the existential threats posed by climate change and are dedicated to implementing robust adaptation and mitigation strategies. The preservation of our environment is not just a responsibility, it is a legacy we owe to future generations. The President's call for sustainability is a call to action for all of us. In 2025, we will intensify our efforts to protect our islands, oceans, and ecosystems through initiatives like the National Sustainable Tourism Framework and the Novo Ligu program. We will promote sustainable practices that balance economic growth with environmental stewardship. Our goal is to build a Fiji that is not only prosperous, but also resilient in the face of global challenges. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President's call for unity and inclusivity resonates deeply. In a diverse nation like ours, inclusivity is not just a value, it is a necessity. We must ensure that every citizen, regardless of background, has the opportunity to contribute to and benefit from our nation's progress. In 2025, we will redouble our efforts to foster unity and inclusivity through initiatives like the Pilot Tourism Micro and Small Enterprise Grant Fund. We will empower marginalized communities and create opportunities for all Fijians to thrive. By embracing our diversity and working together, we will build a Fiji that is united, inclusive, and strong. Mr. Speaker, sir, we fully support the President's legislative agenda, which aims to strengthen governance, enhance accountability, and reflect the evolving aspirations of our people. The review of our constitutional framework and the establishment of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission are steps toward a more just and equitable society. In 2025, we will prioritize legislative reforms and promote transparency, accountability, and good governance. The proposed tourism legislation and the Modernization of the Civil Aviation Act are just the beginning. We'll also focus on enhancing social protection programs, ensuring that vulnerable groups have access to essential services. By enacting laws that reflect the values and aspirations of our people, we will build a Fiji that is fair, just, and prosperous. On the night, I would like to make a special mention of a particular point of interest for the Ministry with regards to the review of the regulation of Surfing Areas Act of 2010. Mr. Speaker, the Regulation Surfing Areas Act 2010 was designed to position Fiji as a premier surf travel destination and to promote tourism, recreation, as well as liberalize access to marine areas for such activities. Key provisions of the Act empower the Director of Lands to designate surfing areas as well as facilitating open access to these areas, boosting the tourism sector. Although the liberalization and access enhanced Fiji's appeal as a surf destination and stimulated economic growth in the tourism sector, it restricted access to the use of the designated areas and compensation to certain groups affected. The government has recognized the need to address the concerns upon assuming power, and amongst other actions it has taken, conducted consultations for the development of a draft document outlining policy directives to address the concern raised towards the provision of the Act. The government has adopted an integrated policy approach wherein it has formed a working committee comprising stakeholders whose insights and input into the final policy will ensure that a holistic and fair document is created and suitable for those who will be affected. The working committee intends to address the interests from the tourism sector, private owners, and customary fishing rights owners into a framework ensuring that all parties' rights and interests are captured and addressed. The next step for the Ministry and Working Group is to finalize the working document that it intends to take out on consultations before the same is finalized into a bill and tabled in Parliament before the end of this year. Amongst other matters, the primary objective of the Working Committee is to develop a mechanism for compensation for the commercial use of marine areas that affects both individuals and customary fishing rights owners. Payment arrangements in the compensation scheme, whether lump sum or recurring, is to be considered in the new legislation, as well as other considerations such as social, environmental, or cultural factors. The compensatory mechanism in the new legislation is intended to be adaptable rather than a one-size-fits-all solution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the path ahead is challenging, but our resolve is unwavering. Let us embrace the President's vision with unity, determination, and transformational leadership. Together we can build a Fiji that is resilient, inclusive, and prosperous. With the permission, Honorable Speaker, let me just reply to one of the comments made earlier today from the other side of the House. That our policies are divisive, that our people are divided because of our policies. Let me just share with you an experience. In Singapore, a lady of the Muslim faith who's a teacher came to me one day last year and said, "Thank you very much. My daughter has completed her studies in medicine. She's now a doctor. And thank you, she doesn't have to pay off child's bills, loans." More than 53,000 young men and women benefited from that. We don't care what community you belong to, whether you're a Tokay or Indo-Fijian. That is a policy of the coalition government. And as you know, Mr. Speaker said, the scholarship that we have available today is unprecedented in the history of this country. So I don't know where the divisive policy is coming from. The reality is that we are a very inclusive government. Order. I'll just share with you that sometimes I tell my guys that we are downplaying our achievements. This is what I tell my guys and my friends. That we should be saying a lot more about all the positive that we have done and that are appreciated by the vast majority of our people. In closing, let our words inspire, our actions empower, and our leadership unite. Together we will build a Fiji that stands tall among nations, a Fiji that is strong, sustainable, and full of promise. May God bless Fiji.